So one of the things I'm trying to do is teach a lot of the martial arts, especially the judo principles I learned for many years when I was a kid, and even through my adult life now, practicing a lot of martial arts, especially Tai Chi and Qigong. But the judo principles that I learned at an early age, I'd like to share those from a practical standpoint. You know, everyday life, you know, here me living at my home, you know, 3 kids, wife, job, things to do, you know, and I don't think there's enough training that bridges us from traditional martial arts over to practical life. So that's some of what I want to do more of. You know, I'm not wearing my gi, I'm not wearing my martial arts outfits, which some videos I might be, just out of sheer comfort, because it can be pretty comfortable wearing that stuff. And tradition too, you know. I think there's a lot to talk about and a lot to learn, so I'd like to share some principles and how it applies to you and to me, to everyone else in everyday life, because I think a lot of it applies and can be really, really useful. So one of the things I wanted to talk about was falling. And here it is, fall. Let me show you some of the trees are changing color. Changing color in New England, quite nice. So the fall inspired me to think about falling and how important learning how to fall correctly is. And it's something that we learned early on in judo training, of course. I don't have my daughter, one of my daughters, my son here to videotape me, so I'm going to try to do my best here with my camera to try to explain some of the principles of falling down and how to fall, because there's a good way to fall down. And it sounds kind of silly, but it's not, because a lot of people get hurt. You know, me sitting here even on the ground here with my wrist, you know, most people fall down, they react by, oh, you know, they panic, and especially the older folks, but I've seen younger kids even get hurt, you know, not knowing how to fall. And you know, so here it is, like I land on the ground. If I fall down, your inclination is to say, oh, you know, you want to grab the ground, and that's one of the worst things you can do, because you're putting all of this pressure. So I'm about 180 pounds or so, and all of that pressure is going down from my shoulder to my elbow to my wrist to my fingers. But if you're creating an arm bar and falling, you're gonna break something. You're gonna hurt something really bad. Typically, I mean, you could easily land on your fingers the wrong way. You could roll on your wrist the wrong way. Certainly, you know, crack an elbow on the ground. And I'm even on a hard surface here, which makes it even worse. So if you slip on ice, you know, most people when they fall, they slip, you know, and they reach back. But what you want to learn to do when you fall is kind of counterintuitive, but you can kind of start to train and start to learn it from a sitting position, actually. And it's basically breaking your fall. It's sort of releasing your energy so that when you fall, you slap the ground. Let's see if I can get the camera to show here. You're slapping the ground. Okay? And ideally, here's my other arm, you know, slap, get the camera angle right. Yeah, slapping the ground. You're basically releasing the energy, so you're slapping the ground. So when you want to practice how to fall, and I'm in a sitting position. In fact, I'm going to see if I can get this tripod set up here a little bit better. Yeah, let's see here. Around the driveway like this. You can get us. Yeah. So what you do is start with a sitting position. And then kind of learn to roll back. And we used to do this thing in judo, especially, where we're laying down and they'd have your hands across your chest and you'd learn to slap. And they'd have you count, you know, 1, 2, 3. And what that did was it helped train us to releasing our energy on the ground. Okay? So what you do is when you're sitting up, a sitting position, and you just rock back gently and hands crossed like this, and then slapping the ground, but not stiff. It's almost like a floppy jellyfish. So when you go back and you roll, you slap, you roll, slap, and you go up. We try a different angle here. Let's see here. Yeah. So remember, you're slapping. So when you fall, you slap. And you roll your back. Never land flat on your back. You know, bang. You want to roll. So kind of like this. Kind of like a rocking motion. You're holding knees. You slap. So that's the first thing you want to do, you know, when learning to fall, especially on a flat surface. And it may hurt a little bit, you know, as you're slapping your hands on the hard surface. You know, usually you're not on a hard surface. You know, you might be on the grass, you might be in a rug in your house or something. But that's the first thing I wanted to share, was just some real basic, simple falling technique. I'm going to be sharing a lot more of this. But just remember, roll back and slap your hand down. It's actually pretty easy.